As Ryan Robinson points out at the end of this podcast, the Pacers are still up 2-1, so I hope we don't sound too bummed. Anyway, every weekday between 1 and 2 p.m., we drop our Central Indiana Scoreboard show, our SportsCenter style scoreboard with Pacers, Fever, Colts, IU, Purdue, Ball State, Taylor, Indiana Wesleyan, Anderson, and IUK. We talk IndyCar and National League Central. We've got a great news and notes section, and we have the best high school sports coverage in Central Indiana. You don't want to miss it. Again, between 1 and 2 p.m. every weekday. This is podcast number 261.1. Our reaction to the Pacers-Cavs Game 3, a very disappointing Pacers loss. I was joined by our NBA guy, John Robertson, and Ryan Robinson, who covers college football for us. Is also a big Pacers fan. And Mike Rich dropped in to talk about his experience there. And we also heard from Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader, and Codey Emerson of the Greencastle Banner-Graphic. It was a lot of fun. Hope you enjoy it.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, Pacers fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, coming to you today from headquarters in Jeffersonville. Producer Susie is in the control room. I'm joined right now by Ryan Robinson, a guy who once beat me in an elementary school basketball game. Just broke my heart. Our NBA guy, John Robertson. Our normal co-host, Mike Rich, was at the game as a fan, so he'll likely join us a little later. Mike Hutzel was also at the game and may drop in. Michelle Garmon's going to join us with her thoughts as well. After an ugly Pacers 126-104 loss in Game 3 to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it wasn't that close. Was this a case of the Cavaliers needed the game more than the Pacers, or was it a case of a full Cavaliers team is just better than the Pacers? We'll start with you, Ryan.
I actually think it's a combination of both, really. I mean, Cleveland had to win this game to avoid going down 0-3, and they're healthy. So, I mean, it might be a sign of what's to come in the next game. But this game, to me, with the Pacers being in Game 3 up 2-0, it didn't really mean nothing to me. You can lose this game, and you still got Game 4 on your home court. And if you win that, you're still up 3-1 going to Cleveland. You got the home court advantage. And so it was kind of a dissection in Game 3 for me. Maybe the Pacers sneak out a Game 3 win and go up 3-0, but I really wasn't expecting that.
I think Cleveland wanted it more tonight. I think the Pacers just were not shooting really well. I think that's the biggest thing. They came out and their shots weren't falling. I hate to be the guy to say that the refs seemed lopsided, but it really didn't feel evenly called. I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend that, the refs don't have some effect. I don't know.
That was the least of my concerns.
I agree. It was the least of my concerns, but that definitely got in the Pacers' heads, I think. I think it got in their heads because they were playing frustrated. They weren't playing smooth like they normally do.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, hey, we're joined by Mike Rich, who was at the game, and we see Mike walking out of the arena right now. Mike, that was a bit of a bummer, wasn't it?
Refs, you sucked. Refs, you sucked. Yeah, it was a big bummer.
Yeah. Well, let me say this. Pacers sucked. Pacers sucked. A lot more than the referees did. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. The Pacers did suck tonight.
As bad as the officiating was, the Pacers were worse.
Yeah, I looked at the fouls. I think it was, 25-26 for Cleveland, and we were about at 30. So, I mean, it was just where they were calling the fouls, just really inopportune times. I thought the first quarter was fantastic, but the rest of the game was crap. Missed way too many shots.
Well, it goes back to what we've said all series long. The Pacers cannot continue to keep coming back from these 20-point deficits. Like,
4 out of the last 5 games.
Yeah, like they keep doing it, and they've done well to get 2 of the wins out of it, but they just can't keep doing it. Like they just got to come out strong and play aggressive from the beginning instead of starting halfway through the third or fourth quarter.
Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader now joins us to share her thoughts, and hopefully we are no longer going to talk about the officiating because it absolutely made zero difference in this game.
Pacers didn't play well enough to win. Carlisle didn't make coaching adjustments needed to adjust when Cleveland went to that zone in the second.
And Atkinson had a great game plan.
He did. I just hope the Pacers are pissed off enough because officiating might not have made the difference. I don't think it did. The Pacers didn't play well enough to win this game. But I do think some of the calls were egregious. But I think it could pay off for the Pacers because they need something to come out and start a game like gangbusters. And if they can stay pissed off for the next however many hours till they tip off again and come out
about 45
with that pissed off attitude, I think we see a different Pacers team at the start. I don't know. What do you think, John?
They need to come out more aggressive. Like I said, we've said this multiple times throughout the series. They need to come out aggressive. They need to stay aggressive. None of the players were really playing well. Like when I think about what Pacers am I happy with, I can only think of 2 off the top of my head that I think played even remotely well, and that's
right. Matherin was fantastic.
Matherin and Nesmith played really well for the minutes that he had, I thought, but everybody else was pretty bad.
Why didn't
particularly their best 2 players, Halliburton and
Siakam. I was just going to ask, why do you think Nesmith sat so long there between the first and the second quarter? Because I thought he sat way too long tonight.
You know what? I thought the same thing, and I was wondering why he was on the bench. And I also wondered why we were struggling from threes and Walker still stayed on the bench. And Carlisle didn't put him in until the fourth quarter with like 6 to go in the game. And he might have been able to light a spark for the when we needed some 3-point shooting.
Mike Rich, your final thoughts before you go drive your family home from the game.
Well, I'm here with Alan Hatfield. We came to the game together. So, hey. My final thoughts were, I mean, like I said, a great first quarter. The atmosphere was fantastic. I mean, it was still a great time to come down here. Seeing James Johnson and Furphy get in at the end was kind of cool too. I think they're still up 2-1. They play pretty well after getting beat pretty bad. So I think they're going to come out Sunday, and I think they're going to go up 3-1 on Sunday.
All right. From your lips to God's ears. Thanks, Mike, for your time. Of course, you and I will be talking Pacers all the time until this run ends, and let's hope it's not for a while. Thanks, Mike.
Yep, I'm going to jump off. Y'all have a good night. See you.
Stay right home.
Yep, thanks.
And now I bring in Codey Emerson of the Greencastle Banner-Graphic. Codey, your complaint was zone defense. You think it's a coward's way out?
I see from someone who watches primarily and has since I've started in this industry of covering sports. I see it just all the time at the high school level, and it's less and less at the college level. Obviously, Syracuse and whatnot. If you're in the NBA, you should be able to play man to man. You're a great enough athlete most of the time, and I just don't get me wrong. I get its benefits. And obviously it worked like hell tonight.
Oh man, did it work!
And that's one of the adjustments that Carlisle and his staff, which as we were talking, it's kind of odd that it was, and I guess
Yeah, because in game one, Halliburton got to the key every time and was torching
Yeah,
them.
and I was with Mobley in there too.
That's
So
right.
I mean, they'll. I guess they can go back and watch the game one film maybe if they want to, and kind of see what worked. I'm just not a fan of it. I don't know. I can't pinpoint it per se, but it's it was just awful tonight. Like I said, call me a fair weather fan if you want. I turned it off in the second half. I think when they cut it to 10 or 11 after that little spurt by Siakam,
He finally woke up and decided to play.
Yeah, I turned it back on just to watch Donovan Mitchell and Max Strus hit back-to-back threes, and that was pretty much it. It like we've been saying, they're up 2-1. Is there cause for concern a little bit? But you still like your chances to bounce back on Sunday. This team is too good, I think. And Cleveland showed, honestly, why they're the number one seed. This is the kind of game they put together. Granted, the Pacers are a better team than Miami. But this is the kind of series that Cleveland played against the Heat in the first round and showed just how dominating they can be. And unfortunately, we've seen games like this from the Pacers. A little too far often, but I've still got confidence in them. We still have the advantage. I know Cleveland fans will be talking their smack on social media up until Sunday, but we're still up 2-1. I still have confidence, and you know what? The team's going to make the adjustments, hopefully.
Cody, thank you for stopping by. What do you think your prediction for Game 4?
I think Pacers bounce back. I don't see. Mitchell, I think, dropped 40 again tonight. They've got to come, and he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. You've got to find a way to limit him in some capacity, or not let everyone else around him go off, and they did in Game 2. So I think
Their
this team.
stars were good tonight, weren't they?
Yeah, his supporting cast balled out, and the Pacers I think will be a lot better offensively. They'll find a way, I think, to pick apart that zone a little bit more.
They did in Game 1, so you would think that they'd be able to.
So
There must have been some kind of adjustment. We'll have to listen to Caitlin Cooper. She breaks it down after every game, what went wrong and what went right. Her podcast is fantastic if you haven't listened to it.
I've listened to
Basketball She Wrote is what it's called, and it's amazing. She's got to be the best beat writer in the entire country, and she writes for the Pacers, so we're very happy to have her and listen to her all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's got it now. Teams just have to play with a sense of urgency. I mean, they've taken a punch.
Yeah, like Ryan said, it wasn't as big of a deal for the Pacers tonight, but it sure is on Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, you're not playing for your season by any means, but you are playing for 100% of the momentum in this series. The winner of Game 4, I don't want to say 100% certain, but they would be the betting favorite to win the series.
Yeah, I didn't think tonight's game was make or break for the Pacers so much as it was for Cleveland. But right. Game 4, I think Indiana definitely has to win.
Yeah, you can't go back to Cleveland after they taken both in Indiana, giving them all the momentum. And I mean, they took the first 2 in Cleveland, but we'll see. Yeah, I expect them to come ready on Sunday.
And you know what? And I think Cleveland made a great move going to the zone defense because Indiana was not hitting outside shots, and they went to that zone defense. And the Pacers shoot 32% from threes tonight, and I can't figure out why Walker wasn't inserted into the lineup because he's been on fire shooting like 42% from threes, but. We needed someone to kickstart that offense, and usually it's TJ McConnell, and he's just been he's been bad. Let's just admit it.
He either plays really well or he plays really bad. There's no in between.
And he had stretches of both tonight.
Yeah.
He did.
He had a stretch where he was kind of changing the momentum. He also had a stretch where he really was hurting them.
Yeah. And same with game 2. He came in, and I'm like, he's just killing the offensive flow of the game. But, this game to me didn't really matter that much because you're up 2-0. You still have game 4 at home. We got to win Sunday at home. I think it's got to be 3-1 going back to Cleveland.
Yeah. I think it mattered. It's just because if you go up, we could have put the nail in the coffin in tonight. And I don't want to say that's. Like I said, we're still in control, but 3-0. If you go up 3-0, you pretty much put the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference away. But
I know, but you know what? Being up 2-0, coming home, and Cleveland has their starting lineup. Everyone's healthy again. Realistically, I did not think we would win this game. You're a number 1 seed, and I don't think you're going to fall down 3-0 in a series like this. So I'm not even worried about tonight's game. I texted Greg earlier, and I said this game doesn't even matter, and he slightly disagreed with me, but
I think what it means is that the Cavs at full strength are just better than the Pacers,
and they might, but we got to get game 4.
Garland didn't do anything though. Garland looked awful.
He had 4 fouls in the first quarter, I think.
Garland looked. This was, and I don't want to say he didn't do anything, but it's pretty much the same team you saw in game 1.
Yeah, and when he's good, they're the best team in the NBA, I believe. Codey, thank you so much for sharing some thoughts, and we will talk to you on Sunday for the Major League Baseball report. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, Greg.
Ryan and John, let's talk about the slow starts again. I said in a text, do they not know that the points count the same in the first quarter and the fourth quarter? Because they play like they matter more in the fourth quarter. You don't have to make 20-point comebacks if you don't fall down 20 points. And honestly, it's kind of getting old. It's hard to complain. You're up 2-1 on the number 1 seed. It's kind of hard to complain. But like I said, 4 of the last 5 games, and it was a season-long habit.
Yeah, but you know what? In the first quarter, I text Eric. I'm like, Miles Turner has all their points at 10, and they're at the free throw line. I said, you know what? If Turner hits 120 free throws, we might have a chance. It was bad shooting. There's a lot of isolation and one shots going up. I didn't think the Pacers really ever got in the flow of this game tonight. And, you're playing at home. It's a hype crowd. I didn't understand why they never really got in the flow of this game. And credit to Cleveland. They were healthy tonight, and this might be a sign of, them being the better team. I don't know. I like this Pacer team. We have a bunch of talent, but it's game 4 is going to.
I don't think Pacers fans realize how good the Cavaliers are when they're healthy, John.
Well, I don't think that Garland was fully healthy. If you watch his movement, he didn't look smooth. He didn't look comfortable. And he got so many fouls early that he was kind of handicapped the rest of the game. So really, you're right. I think that if Garland's fully healthy, it's a completely different series. I worry about whether they can hang with that. I agree with the Pacers didn't seem to come out with a sense of urgency, which I kind of was surprised by. I thought they would have a sense of urgency just to come out and punch Cleveland in the mouth to try and put them on their heels, and they didn't.
It doesn't seem to be their nature, John. We've had a full season of it. Games that you think they would like to have, they would start. In fact, Eric and Ryan and I were doing a college football podcast one night, and the Pacers were down 21 points or something to the Celtics and came back and won the game. And it's like the NBA kind of that tends to happen more in the NBA, but It's just a really bad habit that they've gotten into, and at this point, it seems like a habit.
Well, it
I think.
like
Go ahead.
it seemed like the officiating. It felt like the Pacers were playing on the road. I mean, not to say that's measured either way, but usually the home team gets certain fouls, and it seemed like tonight the Pacers were on the wrong end of a lot of those questionable calls, like the home team normally gets, and they were at a disadvantage. But poor shooting is the whole key to their loss tonight.
I don't disagree. Real fast, John. I don't disagree, by the way. If anyone was listening earlier, and I assume that if you're listening now, you got through the earlier part, so you probably were. I just I don't think that if the officiating was great tonight. I just hate blaming officiating because the officiating doesn't matter. It makes no difference in the game. Well, it makes a difference in the game. I'm saying they call what they call. You've got to adjust to what they call. It doesn't matter what they call.
No, and I think the Pacers got kind of frustrated with how the calls were going, and they got a little bit out of control with possessions. And there were so many possessions where they passed at one time and chucked up a shot. And credit to Cleveland's defense, for doing that. But like I said earlier, it's Game 3. You're up 2-0. I don't think this game means anything.
So that kind of goes back to what I wanted to make, the comment I wanted to make about the slow starts. I think early it seems like the Pacers are happy to make one pass and take a three, and if they're hitting well for the night, that gets them up real in there. But they're content with that. So on a night like tonight, when they're not shooting well, they're gonna go down by 20 because they're doing the one pass shoot, right? And so that's kind of seems like the reason why it's going that way. They're not aggressive. I would like to see them make more aggressive plays and do multiple passes because that seems to be their strength, right?
Like they do in the fourth quarter every
right
night.
When they're making their good passing and ball movement and penetration and then kick it out or whatever. Like if you have to take a three, that's fine, but don't just settle for one pass and a three. And I think that seems to be their game plan early.
And that's why I like McConnell coming in for these stretches because he does that. He goes to the basket. He tries to make plays. Of course, a couple times tonight he got trapped and made poor plays, but he does try to get to the basket and kind of make a play off of that.
Well, I'd like to see Miles and Pascal play post a little bit. I know it's not today's NBA. I know today's NBA is a 3-point game, but I think Miles can play tough. And when you think back to the games where he gets a big monster dunk and it gets the crowd hype and it gets the defense adjusting to that which opens up stuff. But the three just wasn't there for him tonight. The Pacers just didn't have it.
No, and that's the flow of the game. When the shots are going in, it makes everyone look better. And tonight they just weren't going in.
John Vegas knew what it was talking about tonight. They suckered a lot of people into betting for the Pacers.
Heck yeah, I didn't bet on it tonight.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they do. What's the line for the next game, do you think?
I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm guessing it's going to be... I think they're going to surprise us and have Pacers as the underdog, but not by as much. I think it'll be 2 or 3, but let's...
Yeah. I'm thinking 1.5.
Ooh, I'm going to guess 4. I'm going to guess Cleveland by
4. Right now, it's Pacers +5. I think we'll see. Well, that's the starting line. We'll see how it moves as we get going.
I bet it moves in Cleveland's direction.
Cleveland's a 5-point favored for Game 4?
Right now, yes.
Wow.
They were a 5.5-point favorite tonight.
Now, I've said all day that I think we're going to split the home games. I didn't know whether we'd win tonight or Sunday, but I do think we'll get one of the two at home. But they're going to have to make some adjustments for sure.
Well, let's just look at tonight. As bad as it was, we have a chance to go up 3-0. But let's say we split in Cleveland. It's 1-1. And tonight we win. We're up 2-1. How much happier would Pacer fans be with momentum thinking we could pull this series out?
Well, again, I just think it's a matter of what we saw tonight was the real Cleveland. That's what I think probably happened. I've thought they were the best team in the NBA all year, and that's the team we saw tonight. As much as the Pacers weren't aggressive and played poorly at times, a lot of that was due to Cleveland because they are that good, I believe.
I agree with you, Cleveland.
It's 2-1, and it's kind of a downer for us. But had we split in Cleveland and we won the momentum, we'd be so happy that we're up 2-1. So that's
I agree with that. I don't want to be. I keep saying I don't want to be a Debbie Downer because they're up 2-1. But what I saw tonight concerned me that they're definitely going to be the underdog in every game, and assuming Cleveland is healthy,
it's going to be tough.
They're gonna. I believe Cleveland. If they get it to 7, it's going to be very tough for the Pacers, and I imagine it'll get to 7. I don't think they're going to win 4 straight. I've never seen the Pacers this team has never played 4 poor games in a row in a playoffs with this group.
All we have to do is win Sunday, go up 3-1, going back to Cleveland.
I'll feel a lot better then.
Yeah, I think the series is over if we win Sunday night.
Let's keep in mind, though, the Pacers play better as underdogs. They play better when people are, you know what I mean? Like, they came in tonight, people feeling good about them, and, like, maybe they didn't play as hard as you would expect because, like, they really do. They play better when everybody thinks they don't have a shot.
Yeah, hopefully they're questioning themselves tonight and thinking, hey, what do we have to do to beat this team? Because they got to play 4 quarters, and I think they know that now. You're not going to get away with it against a full strength Cavaliers team falling down 20 points.
I agree.
So we'll see. What's your prediction for Game 4? You say win, Ryan?
Yeah, I think the Pacers find a way to win the game. It's going to be a close one, but I think the Pacers go back to Cleveland up 3-1.
Yeah, I think the Pacers play better on Game 4. I've said the entire time they're going to split the home game, so I think they win on Sunday. I think they'll come out and just play really hard with a chip on their shoulder, and they'll find a way. I think it'll be close again. I think they'll get down early, and they'll have to come back again, but I think they'll win.
I'm a little less confident than you guys, but I like their chances of bouncing back and figuring out that maybe we could start a little earlier in the game and the points count the same.
Well, I don't have any data to back this up, but I feel like anecdotally, every time they take a bad loss, they come back the next game and play well. Like just
for a long time, that's been the case. Yes.
For this season, I feel like that's been the story. So I'm going to hope that holds true.
Thanks so much to John and Ryan for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report, and to Mike Rich, Codey Emerson, and Michelle Garmon for dropping in. Of course, it's mandatory at this point, but it is true. Michelle, she is the best. And we thank you for listening. If you like what you hear and you want to help us continue to grow and thrive, please consider sharing these podcasts with your friends and family. We humbly thank you in advance. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love you, Susie.
Love you.